So, what does it really take to build a career that lasts? That's what we're talking about today. We're going to break down an incredible real-world example of lifelong learning, a personal skills stock that's so impressive, it's basically a blueprint for success in today's world. Let's get into it. Okay, so where does it start? Right here with the absolute fundamentals of how things get done right. This first certificate is for ISO 9001, which is the global gold standard for making sure a business runs with quality and consistency. Then, boom, another layer gets added. Strategic foresight with ISO 1497. This is all about spotting and managing risk, which is an absolutely critical skill, especially in high-stakes fields like medical technology. And from there, the focus gets even sharper, drilling down into quality management systems built specifically for medical devices. We're talking deep specialization here. But honestly, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, we're also talking about professional certificates from Google in data analytics, from IBM in cybersecurity, a whole specialization in agile leadership. The list just keeps going. So let's just hit pause for a second. The sheer amount of learning here is, well, it's kind of mind-blowing. And it brings up a huge question. Why? Why would one person put in all this effort to build such a massive arsenal of skills? That's exactly what we're going to figure out. Here's how we're going to break it down. We'll look at this flood of certificates, then we'll unpack the modern challenge that makes this kind of learning so important. After that, we'll dive into the two core pillars of this strategy, the tech foundation and the human layer. And finally, we'll zoom out to understand the powerful mindset that's driving this entire thing. To really get the why behind this, we first need to get a handle on the world we're all working in right now. Because, let's be honest, the nature of work and what skills are actually valuable is changing faster than ever. And this brings us to a really critical idea, skill half-life. I want you to think of it like radioactive decay, but for your resume. It's the time it takes for any skill you have to become half as valuable as it was when you first got it. For technical skills, that can be as little as 2.5 years. That software you mastered, that programming language you learned, it has a shelf life. So when you see this massive collection of certificates, you realize it's not just a hobby. It is a direct, calculated, and frankly, powerful strategy to fight back against that reality of skill decay. It's about staying one step ahead of the game. So how do you actually build a defense against your skills becoming obsolete? Well, this whole journey is built on two huge pillars. And the first one is creating an absolutely rock-solid technical foundation. And if you look closely, you can see this isn't just a random collection. There is a clear logic here. It starts with process management, then builds up with core IT and networking skills, secures everything with cybersecurity, and then puts it all to work with data, AI, and cloud computing. It's a complete, modern tech toolkit built from the ground up. Now, here's the really important part. This foundation isn't just about knowing how to use a few tools. It's about mastering the underlying systems. Whether it's making sure things are built to the highest quality with ISO or designing a network with Cisco principles, these skills create a bedrock. They make sure things actually work, and work really, really well. But here's the thing. Technology by itself is kind of useless, right? You need people to lead, to innovate, to translate all that technical power into actual business value. And that brings us to the second, equally important pillar, the human layer. Look at the pattern here. It's just brilliant. For every single one of those heavy-duty hard skills like data analysis or network security, there's a matching soft skill. You've got agile leadership to manage the tech teams, communication to sell your ideas, and design thinking to actually innovate. It's this perfect marriage of technical skill and human ingenuity. And you can see that focus clearly in the actual courses taken. You've got Google's Project Management Certificate, a deep specialization in agile leadership, and specific training in communication, decision-making, and even how to think like an entrepreneur. This is how you go from just doing a job to leading teams and making a real impact. Okay, so we have a tech pillar and a human pillar. They're both incredibly strong on their own, but what happens when you put them all together? Let's zoom out and take a look at the big picture strategy here. Now, most of you have probably heard of the idea of a T-shaped professional, right? It's where you have really deep knowledge in one main area, that's the vertical part of the T, and then a broad, general knowledge across a bunch of other fields. It's a great model for collaboration. But what we're looking at here, this goes way beyond that. This isn't a T, it's more like a comb. Instead of just one deep area of expertise, there are several. Project management, cybersecurity, data analytics, you name it. Each one is like a tooth of the comb, creating a profile that's not only versatile, but deeply skilled in multiple domains at once. And that right there brings us to the most important takeaway of this whole thing. The goal is not to go out and collect the most certificates. That's not it. The goal is to adopt the mindset. It's a mindset that sees your career as this dynamic thing that you are constantly and strategically building and upgrading. So, as we wrap this up, the point isn't just to admire what someone else has done, it's about turning that lens back on ourselves. Looking at your own career, your own goals, and the crazy pace of change out there, there's really only one question left to ask yourself. What's the next skill you're adding to your stack?